Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka podcast.
Baka.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Baka. We are an anime podcast where every 2 weeks we come together to talk about an anime that we've recently watched. We discuss it like we're in a book club format, and then we turn our discussion over to you, the listeners, the audience, to take whatever measly nuggets from these three Bakas come out and tell us why we're right, tell us why we're wrong, or expand on it. We get insightful thoughts from you, or we're just truly Baka-ing it up.
Did your beard get grayer?
Advance warning. While this podcast will remain PG-13 at worst, we have strong opinions about the anime that we've watched, and we are tolerating it with the use of adult beverages. So if that is something you wouldn't like young children who might be listening to partake in, this would be the episode to skip. I would have skipped it if I could, but I can't. So thus the partaking of the adult beverages. We do have a designated podcaster, and we'll introduce him first as our first co-host. He is the to my
Somebody's already started.
It's Jeremy with his hot take.
This is going to be great. So my hot take is I can't wait to see a completely beginning to end AI anime. I don't care if it is like psychedelic craziness that doesn't make any sense at all. I still want to see it.
Did you see
I want to see something in AI came up. What's that?
Did you see any of the Seinfeld episodes AI did?
No, but just like recently seeing the stuff that came out with Sora, those videos have really good coherence. So I think you could get nice, consistent anime characters and scenes if you tied that into something that had a little bit more interesting story control.
Gross. All right, let's introduce the other co-host. He's the wine cooler to my
Jack Daniels.
I got nothing. Jensen with your hot take.
Jensen.
Man, it's how many? So down so far.
I will be partaking in Coke and Jack
I didn't
Daniels.
ask what.
Well, I just wanted you to know it's hard alcohol. I've had one.
Okay. Oh, just one. Whole one. This is gonna be a fun night.
I don't think he finished it yet. I think it's just been a few sips.
No, I was halfway through before we even got on the call.
Oh, okay.
If we're gonna nitpick over definitions, SAO is not an isekai.
Okay.
That's fair.
Spicy.
And my name is Troy, and I don't have to do a hot take if I don't want to.
I am so using that later. So, precedent has been set.
Hot take. Father-son Kamehameha is the best Kamehameha in all the Dragon Ball Z series. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama, who passed in between our last recording.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking Cell Saga?
Yeah, that would be Cell Saga. Yeah.
Dodge!
Yeah, question is, did Team 4-Star do it better?
Yes, they did. Yes.
No, not that specific moment. Most things I'm good with. The few drama points, while they do a very good job, they even actually get mostly serious. That is their one part where Team 4-Star falls behind, in my opinion.
I'd agree, but the TN pushing Cell into the ground, I don't know. That was amazing.
You guys remember how Akira Toriyama gave Goku the power to read minds for one scene and then he never used it again?
No.
Guy was a legend. Yeah, remember he shows up on Namek, and he's like, "Don't worry, Krillin, I'll figure out what's going on." He just touches Krillin's head and reads Krillin's mind to catch up on all the events of the
Crap, you're right.
on that saga. And then
Yeah.
Goku at no point ever tries to read a brain ever again. Because Akira Toriyama did not give a hoots. Again, rest in peace to a legend.
Maybe it was just information overload. He doesn't like that much thought.
Maybe.
Even
Oh,
from
that's
Krillin.
All right. Next we go to the anime. We have to talk about Jason's pick.
Here we go.
The most, first complaint. This name. It's insane. This is too many words. The most heretical last boss queen from Villainess to Savior.
Hey, you made it.
Yeah, hold on.
We didn't even. We didn't even say diabolical. No, wait. Dichotomy? Yeah, we didn't even say that.
Yeah.
Diabolical.
All right. Ooh, it's been a while. Non-spoiler reviews is what my notes say. Jason, thoughts on this anime?
Nope. No.
It's just a walk away.
I think the biggest. So I was saying in the pre-show and actually throughout the week, it's going to be tough to give this a fair shake because not only is it not in our wheelhouse, but it's also not written for us. But wow, nothing happened. I had a tough time watching these scenes, and if you are a young teenage girl, this may appeal to you, but if you are literally anyone else, I'm not sure you're gonna like this anime.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. This one was really, really rough for me. I actually found myself tapping the forward arrow key and then trying to time it and be like, okay, yeah, I got the dialogue. Being subtitles, you don't have to hear it, right? So you can just be like, okay, the sentence is there. Got it. Next one. Got it.
I don't think you're supposed to admit that out loud.
I want to because it says something. I've never done that before. No matter how bad that an anime is, I have never been so out of my mind bored with the inaneness of the anime that I've actually wanted to fast forward. So this one was really rough for me. It was and again, like you said, Jason, it's for a completely different demographic, and I'm sure for them it gives them everything they want. I think the biggest issue I have is that the thing that is supposed to provide the pressure and kind of not really conflict, but just sort of the obstacle to overcome, it doesn't exist. Right. There is no stakes. That thing that is the big problem to overcome is very clearly not a problem from the beginning, and it never becomes a problem in these episodes. Now, I don't know where it's going to go in the future, but if this is any indication, to savior is the key word. So there really is there's no hurdle to jump from villainous to savior. And that's what really got me, is nothing gets in the way of the main character. So it's just a coast. It's a slice of life that pretends to be something else, but doesn't even have the comedy and I don't know, doesn't have what slice of life tries to have.
I think calling it even a slice of life is unfair to slice of life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for my opinion, first off, yes, this is a genre that we're not really super familiar with, and it's outside of our, obviously, gender and age range. We're not the target audience. I think it's unfair to the shojo genre for this to be the first one we watched. I honestly do.
You're probably right.
There's no way this is the peak shojo anime. Second of all, it's an isekai, and it does all the lazy isekai tropes, which infuriate me. It is a power fantasy for a female, but it almost does the exact same power fantasy as it does for male anime. Everyone loves me. I'm super powerful, and I can't be beaten. But the thing that really frustrates me is building off of what Jeremy said about how there's no stakes, but the anime tells you there are. And it got to a point where I'm like, you are straight up gaslighting me into believing there are stakes and conflicts in an anime where there aren't. And I got a little rageful. It's the reason the whiskey's here. It was so frustrating. The anime goes out of its way to remove stakes that could be there. There's a ton of potential here for a really great story. There, a slice of life has a character arc that they have to go through, something that they have to change about themselves. The dress up darling, that's a guy who's having to overcome his own social anxiety. Learn to be open about his feelings. There are stakes to that. Yeah, they're not a planet might blow up. They're not we have to save the world. It's still very personal stakes and very important stakes. And that was a romance anime, and I have no problem with it. It doesn't have to be robots fighting aliens. I don't need that. I enjoy a good romance. This is centered around I think they're called an Otome game. It's basically a dating sim. I played Hatoful Boyfriend. I loved Hatoful Boyfriend, which had a crazy great horror movie twist in it. It's amazing. This ain't it. I refuse to believe that this is the example. I want another shojo. When there's a ton of anime we have to watch right now, when things settle back down, I want another shojo anime. I cannot believe this is the pinnacle. This is the example that we need to go by.
So if you have suggestions that are not 15 years old, definitely let us know.
Yeah.
So you're like, I shot myself in the foot. This hurt really bad, but it can't always hurt like this. I'm going to shoot myself in the foot again.
I don't believe it's the genre that's the problem.
Okay.
Other than isekai.
Okay.
Yeah, the isekai is a problem. The being a shoujo isn't a problem. Because even if I walked away from this, I didn't like it. If it was just the shoujo stuff, I could say it's just not for me. I don't think that's what... This is bad writing. This is legitimately bad writing.
Maybe that's what shoujo is. And maybe that's why it's still got a good score.
Then I want that proven. I refuse to accept that as a belief at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it's on the not recommend list for us.
No. Yeah. I don't recommend it.
Let's talk about the opening and closing. I don't remember them. What do you guys got?
The visuals were okay for a while in the OP, but then they get cringe.
It's all a gaslight. It's all like, oh, it's so intense. It belongs, the music belongs in a death game anime. It's like, oh, we're gonna die. Grab my hand. I don't know if I can. They're sisters.
I thought this was my review of the OP.
Look. You're right. I'm sorry.
Anyways, it was passable. I didn't watch it more than a couple times. The ED was just not there. I mean, it was there, but it was just not for me. And then I didn't watch any end credit scenes.
Yeah. I really liked the music for the OP. I like it a lot. I recognized it. I did not know what that song was from, but I've had it on Beat Saber for a while. And that was really cool. I like that song. But the visuals for it were, yeah, exactly right, Troy. It's totally lying to you. But I mean, it really sets the tone for the anime. It does a good job of that. Of like, hey, this character has to change because she's so evil, or the evil character's always lurking right there. Nope. And the outro it's worse in a different way. It's worse due to shallowness. It's literally just shots of happy characters. And there's no subtext. There's nothing there that to chew on. And so yeah, I also really didn't like the music of the outro. So nope.
I have no thoughts.
They've been washed
you
away.
do, obviously, but you don't want to give them.
No, I'm pretty sure I've said all I wanted to say.
Have
Our
you
next anime is going to be the first 12 episodes of Undead Unluck. We will all be sober for it. This is not going to be a regular thing.
Oh, come on.
And we do know that ends mid-arc. It just will be better than trying to cram extra episodes before or after.
Right. Because we work full-time jobs and we're old, tired men.
Yep.
All right, yeah. First 12 episodes of Undead Unluck. All right, on to the spoiler section of, this is the last time I'm saying this, the most heretical last boss queen from Villainess to Savior.
I think my favorite thing about this anime is making Troy say that title.
Yes.
Anytime you guys pick an anime with an extremely long title, there is a moment of rage. Especially the first time I have to write it down in my show notes so that I know I'll be able to pronounce it later and say it. It's just so frustrating. Okay. Hold on.
Try to get you through episode 1.
All right, episode 1. Guys, first complaint.
Oh, here we go.
This anime is so lazy. It shows you like a flash of a girl, a flash of a kid in front of a truck, a flash of a hospital, a baby being born in a castle, and then says, hey, we're going. It doesn't even properly do an isekai introduction. It just shows you images and says, you know.
Yeah. You know what we're doing here.
Which, at that point, when I saw this, I'm like, is this where we are with isekai, where the animes from now on are just going to go, you know. But
actually,
now
I think this might be the only moral quandary in the entire anime, because she takes over this young girl at like 9 years old.
Can you kill 8-year-old Hitler?
You can become 8-year-old Hitler.
You
And
can
better.
become 8-year-old Hitler.
So in every other isekai that we've watched, we don't see the main protagonist overtake another body. They're just born into the world. In this one, she literally replaces the personality, brains, and soul of this other character. Therefore, basically killing off that other character and becoming them.
And everybody said, thank you.
Basically.
I mean, yeah, that's the Hitler thing obviously is extreme, but that is the concept. What if you in a video game form jumped into 8-year-old Hitler, and then could you stop yourself from being Hitler?
Like, why do you want this girl to be Hitler? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, she does destroy the nation in the novel, right?
Yeah, are you asking me or the anime?
Right.
So yeah, this character is in a dating sim game where there's multiple storylines where you can pick the heroic character who's going to fall in love with the main character, and the redheaded princess / queen is the evil final boss of the game. Her name is Pride Royal Ivy. And she's gonna cause a bunch of pain. She's gonna cause millions of deaths, and then eventually will be murdered at the end of the game, leading to
she's a sociopathic psycho.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not just that she's going to. She ever since she was little, she has been like killing her maids and wreaking havoc. So it's already happening.
Have we watched many isekai where they go into the literal game? Because there's a lot of where they're like, oh, I recognize these systems. It's very similar to my game, or I have the powers of my game.
Overlord.
But I think this is
Log Horizon.
Was Overlord the literal game, or was it just a similar world?
It was.
I thought it was a whole new world. They just his game self worked in it.
Well,
Yeah, because I
it
thought
was
he had the headset on and then he couldn't take it off, and then he
Yeah,
was just in it.
It was a world that it seemed like it was based on all the rules of the game. I mean, you had leveling, you had special items.
one of his big tasks was like exploring the world and learning its rules.
You're
because
right.
It was a new game. It wasn't the actual game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like
so it's
it
not
had
the exact game.
Yeah, it was like the game was just a pillar within this bigger world.
Okay.
But all the rules of the game would still apply outside of it. So yeah, Log Horizon is another one that I was thinking of, where they're in a game and they know exactly the world they're in.
It's just if I isekai'd into like literally Final Fantasy VII, let's say, because I'm playing it right now. Why not? I'd be like, am I in a world or am I trapped inside my own video game? And like, there's
Is
a
Tifa
player
available? Sorry.
Well, in this
Swimsuit.
case, I mean, I would be in Sephiroth, and then I'd be like, who's controlling Cloud? Is it a 12-year-old little monster who's gonna slash at everything, or is it is it a human being I can reason with? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry.
Well, you could become Sephiroth the Savior.
This conversation is much
good.
more interesting than what we're about to get into. So
Yeah.
I guess in a roundabout drunkenness way, what I'm trying to get at, there's a ton of potential here. There's some really cool things they could have done. They could have done like the game is auto-correcting and forcing you on a path. I thought for sure it was going to be like, oh, if I don't make these evil choices, then like worse stuff happens. There's like greater good evil choices. She was going to find out like, oh, I do need to be a little evil to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Or, I mean, there's other options too. Like, they kept showing you all of these shots of the evil version of herself. What if they traded spots every now and then, right? Like, you never know which day she's in control versus which day the original evil version of her is in control. And then they're constantly trying to subterfuge around each other and predict what they're going to do and set up traps for each other. That would be really cool. And there's lots of other choices. Like, what happened to the poor normal protagonist girl who just basically turns into a nothing? Like, she has no reason to exist in the anime, but she was the central figure of the game. What happened to that character?
I kept waiting for her to start turning into a villain. Like, oh, if you steal the protagonist role, the protagonist is going to go antagonistic.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
how cool would that have been if, like, you know, they're talking and then just like one of the knights in the background, just a sword goes through his chest. You see the blonde girl behind him going,
Well, I mean, it does seem like it's a little far. Maybe if they up to that would be very cool.
This idea brought to you by a wine cooler.
Yes.
All right, so yeah, that's the basic premise. So she's 8 years old, awakens, realizes what's going on, and she's like, oh, this is the day the dad in the game dies. I think she's only played this game like once and was planning to play it again. So she's not like super familiar with it, but she's pretty familiar with it. There's some characters she's like, oh, do I remember them?
she sure knows a ton about it for only playing it once.
Yeah, if she has only played it once, then she's been on the wiki and she's gone down some serious like tunnels because she knows hidden routes, hidden characters.
Well,
and...
okay, if you play one of these games, you guys not play a lot of.
Nope, not really.
I don't think I've ever played a dating sim before. So
okay, you
partway
have
through Doki Doki.
Doki Doki is basically the setup is one, right? So exactly how you play Doki Doki is how you play these games.
oh, so you've never mind.
But this again, the
Not
setup
modded
of
Doki
Doki.
Doki.
Oh no, I was just saying YouTube friendly. I was like, better not say that.
No one played the pigeon one where you date the pigeon boys.
No,
Hatoful boyfriend.
no, I'm just not.
Dude, what is wrong with you?
Okay, no, Hatoful boyfriend's fantastic because it's 100% like just a dating sim, but for some reason everyone's a pigeon, and just like a different version of a pigeon, and it's amazing.
Why?
And then after you beat the game, you can play it with the pigeons turned into anime voice,
But you have to beat the game with them all as. Do they
How
have no
much
you
did
have
beat
to-
this again?
Pottiful Boyfriend was very popular. I'm not crazy. Anyway, in these games, you play through them multiple times because every time you, especially once you beat the main stories, you usually unlock a secret story, and then that gives you like all the details that's happening in the background, what set this up, and then you usually get a big twist in there. So yeah, it's very normal. If you've played the game properly to the end, you will have seen secret characters. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You just won't know like what the end of their route, so to speak, is unless you've played that route, right?
Right. And then, but again, if you've played the whole game, you played every route. People don't just play these games and do one route and say, I'm good. I picked the guy I like. You actually play
you're gonna
all
see
the routes.
the main story over and over again, just in different ways. Okay.
Yes.
So when you say play it once, you mean play each route once. Cumulatively, that's one playthrough.
Yes.
Okay. I understand then. Yep.
Okay. And I think I saw that on a wiki. And I was on a wiki because I was looking up ages, because later it gets weird. And the anime doesn't do a very good job of telling you how much time has passed and what ages people are.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're very explicit.
Yeah, it's like 7 and then 13.
Yeah.
I think.
So the anime ends and she's 13.
Except for there's multiple times where time passes and they don't tell us again if it was 6 months, a year, a week.
She doesn't look any different. And they're pretty good at showing the different ages.
Are they?
Fairly.
If they're a drastic difference, then they do pretty good. Just because one of the characters has an important ability that is associated with ages, so they have to call that out.
Fine.
But the subtle side, maybe not.
I hate you all.
Firm grip on the steering wheel right here.
Thank you. Okay, her dad's supposed to die in the game right here, so she jumps out onto the windowsill and yells, "Hey, the window's gonna break!" And then a guard saves her.
You mean wheel?
Yeah.
The wheel.
What did I say?
Window.
Yep. Hold on, that requires a drink.
Yes. So this was really dumb because she didn't just like yell out the window. She climbed out the window and like crawled around sideways to the window so that she could be in a position to fall. She had zero reason to leave the room. She could have simply yelled from the window. It was arbitrarily done to create suspense that didn't need to be there.
The thing that upsets me about this scene is a lot of times in these isekai stories, they're like, how did you know that? And the character has to come up with some kind of lie or reasonable explanation how they figured this out. It becomes a source of conflict where they have to keep their secret. Spy Family does this great, not an isekai, but a character who can read minds is constantly having to think up excuses why they know so much.
And is drawn amazing every time she does, like,
Yes.
gets stressed.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It's so funny.
This anime says, oh, but the character you're supposed to be has the ability to see the future. So no one's ever going to question the fact that you know this, because why would we create any conflict of any kind?
In fact, it reinforces that this character is in a position of authority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like people that have this ability are normally in the royal family, normally the queen. But it's not even consistent because there are times where I didn't once see her genuinely predict anything about the future.
Which does bring up an interesting question that this anime doesn't deserve. Is this ability created from people who played the video game?
Well, no, because her mom had it, she said. So unless her mom is a previous generation.
Yeah, mom has it.
Right, but this is a sequel game.
Is it a sequel game?
I don't know, but maybe
We're
it
gonna
is.
say it's a sequel.
It's a sequel game, and maybe the mom is a player character who took over, and that's where she got her powers.
Here's a better thing. Doesn't matter. Should we move on?
Moving on. What's important is that she begs her dad not to slaughter the maids and guards who saved her life.
I know! Like, what kind of writing is this? So I thought she was the villain. But it sounds to me like her parents are just as villainous as she is if they enable this kind of behavior and are willing to do that.
How do you think she learned the behavior?
Absolutely. This was just shocking to me.
Except, Jason, let's not forget, the parents are super proud of her for becoming a good person.
I know.
Right.
I know. It's inconsistent. It makes no sense.
They become just as benevolent later on.
I
Yeah.
thought for sure the queen was going to be evil. Like, oh, so
Right.
that's going to be the conflict. Because you were raised to be evil by an evil queen, and then you're not evil. And then the mom's like, oh, I'm going to manipulate you and turn you evil again. And nope, queen's super nice. Like, oh, God, I'm glad our kid's not evil no more. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
Yay.
that's what bugged me. Is it didn't make any sense. Like they're either evil or they're not evil. You can't have them change with her when she has a new person in her body. That makes no sense.
Didn't she say in the beginning that, her dad's supposed to die here in the cart, and then mom dies like real soon afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she just
Probably
takes
kills
over the
her.
country and becomes evil.
Yeah.
Or well, continues her evil ways, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess it makes sense that the parents could still be decent people, besides this moment where dad wants to slaughter everyone.
Well, the way the maids were talking, it sounds like that's the common reaction is like other maids have been killed because they're like, no, don't kill her. Don't kill her. Please don't kill her. She's really sorry. So like it sounds like she's already had them killed, which
Right.
means her father's butchered them. Well, I mean, had them executed. I'm going to say that because it makes it sound worse. So like, yeah, they have already established that they're evil in the past. Okay,
Jeremy.
not evil, but ugh.
Jeremy, you're slipping in your duties. Everyone listening is like, aren't you supposed to talk about the character first? And you are. Thoughts on Pride?
Thoughts on Pride?
Which version?
The real one. Who cares about the hypothetical one from a video game?
Right. She's just so nauseating to continue listening to. She's not just verbose, but verbose.
Obers. I love it.
She's not only verbose, she's just repeats the same thing with a couple different words changed over and over again with every single conversation, and it's just it's mind-numbing to watch.
And it's not
and
just
also
her. It's all dialogue in this, yeah.
true, but her altruism is there's never any real conflict with it, right? Because it's like, should I stab this person through the throat, or should I be nice to them and offer them salvation? It's like there's no nuance to any of the decisions she makes ever. So I think the only thing that I really liked, well, not really liked, I kind of liked. I'm a sucker for the power fantasy. So, like, I really like Overlord. I really liked
Slime.
some of the Slime anime. When she uses her cheat ability, I thought that was neat. Like, I thought it was done okay, except there was zero budget into the animation of this anime. So either you get a black screen with a line and then the bad guys fly away in blood, or it's just awkward to watch these like 2D pictures just kind of move and then like anyways. It besides those scenes where she's just kind of an overpowered badass, which is kind of out of the blue, I think what I really liked about it is the people that she was facing against would call her a monster. And it's like, I could see that from their perspective. Like, you've got this 13 or 11 to 13-year-old girl that's able to just deflect bullets, cut steel, take out multiple men at a time. Like, yeah, that's a monster. That's a supernatural beast you're dealing with. But besides that, it was just the scenes were just so drawn out. I wasn't a big fan of this character.
Yeah. There were some interesting moments where some of the decisions that she was making and the things she was doing had very strange ethical complications and implications that I don't necessarily think were intended to be thought about. Like, I didn't get the impression that the anime was having her make people sign a fealty contract and then wanting you to think about the fact that she's basically enslaving them as opposed to executing them. And how whether and whether that makes her as bad as the original, or even just heading in that direction. Like, where does this move her on that meter? you know? And I don't think the anime really wanted you to think that about the fealty contract. Like, as far as it was concerned, the fealty contract was just a thing that needed to happen and move on. Don't think about it. Don't talk about it. It just exists. But there's different moments like that where you're like, okay, there's some meat on this bone that could be chewed about and it could be thought about, and the anime just doesn't do it. And I think that is a major detriment to her character, because it's all centered around her, and that in the title there's that moral dilemma of, am I good or am I bad? Am I going to destroy everything or am I going to save it? So like, play with that, do something with that, and they really don't. And so anything else about her just falls short really bad because of dropping that ball. But I also really found myself annoyed, irritated, frustrated even, with every time that she was like, I'm going to save you and then hug you, and you will all weep and wail and scream and cry in response to my empathy for you, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy. If you're a bad guy, I'm going to take away your ability to hit me, and then I'm going to hug you and tell you it's okay, and you're going to cry and you'll be fixed.
Sounds like Stockholm.
I know, it was so bad. I found that really hard to deal with. So the premise of her character, I think, is really, really cool. I think there's a lot there, potential. The execution is very, just objectively, I think, bad.
One of the things I was thinking about was when she comes back from saving the captain, there could have been this, because it's kind of like when you've got shows where, like, the government, or the leaders of the government, they've used a powerful weapon, like say a nuke, and you've got some people that are like, wow, we have really powerful weapons in our arsenal, and then there's other people that are like, this is a really terrible thing. Not only have you used it to murder a bunch of what we think are people not deserving of death, but now we have this thing that could go on the loose, and who controls the controller, who watches the watcher, kind of thing. I think that would have been a really cool dichotomy within the Knights faction. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, we can play along.
Right?
Yeah.
If we had that split, right? Of like, people are like, hey, this is super concerning that we've got this basically time bomb able to murder literally swaths of people without a care in the world. And then another faction like, no, this is the greatest thing in the world. She can save all of us. But no, they didn't play with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like the isekai power fantasy trope. It always bugs me. Especially the whole, I disappeared into this new world and I'm super, super cool with it. I didn't have any family or friends. I have no desire to go back. I'm never going to spend 1 ounce of energy thinking about, could I get back to the real world? The reason ReZero is my favorite isekai is because it throws that all out the window. It has a guy who thinks about the fact that he's never going to see his mother and father again, and deals with that. And story-wise, it deals with the fact that he's not just awesome. That's why ReZero works for me. She's just another character. I can't lose a fight. I'm super cool. Everyone loves me. And it is, instead of the male power fantasy, now it's the female power fantasy. And they're both just as boring as the other one. And
what about Eminence and Shadow?
What?
Eminence and Shadow.
I did not give that. So to be fair, I didn't give that a good review. And that ended up being a satire of the genre.
Unintentionally, maybe. We're still not 100% sure whether that's intentional or not.
It reminds
no, it's 100% intentional. He doesn't understand what's going on.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, like, intended that it's a satire, like the writing.
I came down.
Okay.
So where I've come down on Eminence of Shadow is that it's like The Princess Bride, where it's making fun of the thing, but also doing it perfectly well. Like Princess Bride is making fun of fantasy tropes, but also doing a really good fantasy story at the same time. So if you like those tropes, there's plenty to enjoy. If you like to see them roasted, it's also doing that. It was a perfect movie for its time. That's not where I landed when I watched Eminence in Shadow, but I've kind of accepted that that's what it was going for. And if you like that, I'm all for it. This is not satirizing anything. It's just leaning heavily into the tropes. I think it's lazy. All right.
The blood moon is rising. We're almost out of time.
Yes.
So the dad informs her that it's time to go kidnap a child and force him into being your brother / future husband.
Yep. Again, what I'm saying, like, there are really odd moral, ethical issues that you would think should be discussed, but they're not even touched. Like, they're just accepted and moved on.
So we learn in the original game this character, and we are going to talk about him. I haven't forgotten. This character was tricked into a fealty contract. So there's two types of contract. There's like, hey, you're gonna work for us, and then there's like, you're my slave, and I can order you literally to do anything I want. She, in the game, Pride had tricked him into signing the slave contract, and then forced him to murder his own mother. And his whole thing is, I left my mother and I miss my mother. She forced him to murder him. That's just how evil she was.
And then told him he can't kill himself or her.
Yeah, and then no suicide allowed. And he's one of the romantic interests for the protagonist, who we haven't met the protagonist of the video game. But, so yeah, the dad... Yes. Tiara is the protagonist of the video game.
Oh, you play as Tiara. Okay.
Yes, you play as Tiara.
How many wine coolers
I
have you
completely
had?
missed that.
It's not super clear. She calls it out a few times, like, oh, yeah, he falls in love with Tiara. And then I was like,
Yeah.
So if this is a romance video game and these characters are falling in love with Tiara, Tiara must be the character you play in the game.
Are you serious? In the first episode, in the sub, she very clearly calls it out and, like, nags on it many, many times. That, like,
hey,
that's
Mr. Fast Forward, what are you judging up on that high horse for?
It's still there. That's fascinating.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
didn't see it.
This younger brother who is upset about losing his mom, but he's now the adopted brother and called a brother-in-law. And I was like, oh, that is technically true. That is not what I thought a brother-in-law would be, but that works. Yeah, this is Stale. What do you guys think of Stale?
Stepbrother, I'm sorry.
Brother-in-law. Totally fine to have relations with your brother-in-law.
No.
Where's this going?
No.
Where is this?
Hey, this was a terrible idea, guys.
As he drinks another.
Jeremy, talk to us about Stale. Save us.
Please.
Stale's going. He's getting old. He's getting stale. Yep, bad joke. So I really didn't like this character. They try so hard to make this character have depth because they make him hate another character so that they can pretend there's a villain. But his hate it's built on this simple misunderstanding that a child has from not reading the scenario correctly. And it just goes. And then even after the scenario is resolved and there's no reason for the hate anymore, the hate stays. And he wears glasses because they look cool in a medieval anime. Like, I hate everything about this character. Like,
point of
it's not
order.
utilitarian.
This is not medieval anime. They have
I know,
blocks.
they have guns. They have guns. I got so mad the
And
first time I saw
revolvers.
the guns.
Blocks and
revolvers
revolvers.
on top of that.
This
Yeah.
guy's got a 9mm clip. He pops it into his gun.
I know.
Magazine. Hello.
Yeah, magazine. Yep. Just. I hated it. I hated that. But back to Stale.
Really?
I really don't like this character for some of those reasons, and also because his ability, this teleportation ability, like the way that they use abilities in this kingdom,
let's talk
in
about
this world,
abilities.
is
Yeah.
nonsensical. Like
Nonsensical. It's dumb.
yeah, they hide them. They hide the abilities from people, which I could understand that if you were using them for the benefit of your government, right? Like if you have a kid that can teleport, and we even see it being used in a strategic sense where his teleporting is used to deliver goods to the frontline troops without even putting him in danger because he doesn't have to teleport with it. He can literally just put his hand on the goods and the goods teleport to a coordinate that he knows. He doesn't even have to have visited the coordinate. He just needs to know the coordinate, or in the case that we see later, know somebody who's at a coordinate and then go near them, like he does with the princess when she's falling. Because he doesn't know where she is. I know. So they don't use him. They don't use him properly. They don't use the guy that
Gonna
can
get a
heal.
copyright strike.
They don't use the guy that can control age, which is basically making people immortal, because they call him out as being able to be immortal by controlling his age. So he could make anybody immortal. But like the usage of it is just so ridiculous, and Stale is the first one we see that is ridiculous. So for me, like he's the pinnacle of that. Yeah, I just really don't like him.
I hate the abilities in this anime as well because there doesn't seem to be any cost to them. And we get a really good glimpse into that during the last few episodes. We've got a girl who can literally just keep spraying water out of her hand, and doesn't seem to be any cost to it. She can just do it and do it. And then with Stale in particular.
Wait. Sorry. To build on your topic, the whole fact that her power gets weaker, no one assumes it's because she's tired or overused it. It's really a plot point of that. They solve a mystery because her power gets lessened. So there is absolutely no cost. It is canon confirmed that your power never weakens or gets lower, or you can use it as much as you want.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing that bugs me about their power system, because like Stale's ability is so OP as far as what he can do. Like there's a moment he just teleports two goons into jail. Like how convenient is that? He doesn't even bother unwrapping the chains off someone. He just teleports the chains off them 2 feet away. Like, so if it's that mundane for him, like if when he has to go to bed, he might as well just go poof, hit his clothes, get teleported onto the ground. I hate it because there's no cost to it. There's no limitations. There's no stakes to when or if or when he uses them. Stale himself is just a dick. Sorry.
I promised a PG-13 podcast.
My bad. You know, bleep me. I
think that's still 13.
We have confirmed I don't know how to bleep us.
Stale's a jerk. I don't like him. He's self-centered. He's got this complex of I'm gonna protect the pride, and I don't know. It just very much felt like Munchausen syndrome. Like he's upset that he's at the castle, and she spends a night with him. Not like that because they're really young. And all of a sudden he's just like, I'm gonna protect her forever. It's just like the logical leaps that happen with this character are just infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, she got him the ability to communicate with his mother, but that in itself, like, still, it's ridiculous.
It's like sending someone to jail and going, "Oh, it's okay, I'm in prison. I can make a phone call a day."
Yep. Well, actually, no. Phone call
a year.
A year.
Yeah. One phone call a year.
I mean, he is gonna be king.
Right.
It's a little better than prison. I get your point, but he's gonna be second in command of the entire country.
But how does that even make sense? You go and you pick a random kid that has a good power from the poor section of town, and you're like, you're gonna be king now. You know?
And also, like, if he's being stolen away, why couldn't he have just teleported him and his mother's to somewhere else?
Yeah, Well, he did have. It was mentioned the one limitation is the power grows as you grow. So when he was a little kid, he couldn't teleport adults.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, there
Mhm.
there came a point where I can teleport adults now because
That's right.
I got the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My thoughts on Stale. Everything they said is true. But I listed him as my favorite character. And the only reason is in the future he could be more interesting. He's one of those characters who's like scheming and manipulating, or he's working into that. And he could be like, hey, I'm doing this for the greater good, but I'm doing bad things. And even they call out that he has like a bit of an evil smile. And he doesn't like that about himself, but he's very much that type of character. We don't get to see much of that at this age or in this anime, so I'm just hoping he gets more interesting, but I'm never going to find out.
How
No.
great would that be if he became the evil king instead of the evil queen, and then like Pride had to like skewer him?
He's unbeatable. You can't beat this guy. If you touch him, he can teleport you 1,000 feet into the sky, and then you'll fall to your death and die.
Mm-hmm.
He's again no cost, and he doesn't have to go with you.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah, actually,
Nightcrawler on steroids. He's perfect.
Yeah, he
Yep.
teleported behind that dude, and then like poof, he's gone.
Right. And
Yeah.
he sent them to prison, but what if he sent them into space? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like in the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
right?
Like,
Yeah. And the precision is insane because he's able to not just transport the person, but he's able to transport the person and the clothes, but not the gun.
oh my god! Imagine if he like miscalculated just a little bit, and they teleported like into the bars, like so the bars are like going through the
Yeah. Or he could
like
just transport
Philadelphia
him solid
project
Earth.
style.
All right, we
Yeah.
talked about Stale. I'm gonna finish this episode because we're still on one.
Mm.
This microphone's coming off the stand before the end of the night. You guys
You're gonna have it in your mouth by the time we're done.
It's getting closer. So Stale joins. He's super upset, and again, we get the flashbacks of how evil it is. And she's like, "How do I not be so evil?" And she's like, "Do you want to escape?" He's like, "No." She's like, "All right, I made it so you and your mom can write letters to each other." And he's like, "Okay, you're my best friend forever." She's like, "All right." And then he gets sick at some point, and then she calls into bed with him. Not that way. They're 8, and she's like, and she's like, "Hey," she whispers in the ears, "If I become evil, stab me."
Okay, this was amazing. So this is something that consistently happens. It happens with 2 characters, and I absolutely hate it and I absolutely love it at the same time because just what it does for a scene and how it shifts it suddenly becomes a joke. Like she helps you, everything's wonderful, and then she's like, "Kill me. If I'm evil, kill me." And you just imagine from those characters' perspective, no context, just she's insane.
I just love this idea that she's. Oh no! How do I not make him kill his own mom? Maybe don't ask him to do it.
Right. Super easy, barely inconvenient.
Yes.
And what Jason just said, if you haven't watched this, it sounds like a joke. Like, clearly, no, she's crying. She's in his bed weeping about the idea that she's going to make him kill his mom, even though she has no intention of doing it. And again, this is an alternate timeline from her game. No one has any memory of her. She was 8 years old when she took over the body. So it's easy for everyone just to write off like, oh, she matured and grew up a little bit. She's not a horrible sociopath like we were worried about. So it's not even like, oh, she has a weird behavior change. Everyone's just like, oh, cool. She's not a she's I want to say the D word that Jason said, but I'm holding back. I want to go to episode 2.
She's not a monster.
We need to talk about Gilbert. Gilbert had a scene here. We didn't know it was Gilbert, but Gilbert is he's the Jafar to the king, but is he? Question mark, question mark, question mark. You guys' thoughts on Gilbert? Quickly.
I don't know. Those kind of they're like Jeremy said, this anime is full of potential and none of it is realized. We had the like makings of an evil character, And of course, he has to have some sort of stupid redeeming quality. And then all of a sudden, he's the best good guy mentor trainer at the end.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, it just took all the wind out of that sail and decided to just piss it away. I think he was decent. I liked the attempt at political intrigue that was going on here. But he has no real power compared to the king and the queen and Pride. So for all his, political maneuvering, like they would just tell him no. And it's over. So it's like, like okay.
Yeah, one of the biggest issues I had with him was that he went from street urchin to chancellor in 3 years.
All of them did.
By picking up some books.
Everyone went from street urchin to amazing royal family helper.
Do not doubt the power of the montage.
I know. That's it. Like I cannot understand Val and his family, right? Because Pride did it.
Got a lot of story and not a lot of time. You need a montage.
But this guy, he literally is like, oh, I want to marry this girl. She's going to marry somebody else from the royal family. I got to become a royal family member now, or some kind of equivalent noble. So he's like, okay, give me 3 years. I'll be the chancellor to the king. Are you serious? So yeah, that and it didn't talk about it as if, because yes, it did make it clear that he didn't know his power yet at the time. Right. So this is not like he's been around for 100 years and he's just in a kid's body. This is his first go. So I just hate that. I hate that so much.
Why in the flashback was he stuck in an old man age?
It was the trauma. It was the trauma of what Pride did, of like gleefully making sure that his fiance died. And
trauma?
And the trauma got rid of
something technical or some sort of
No. Okay. His whole plan is to enact this law where they take control of all users with special abilities. And I'm assuming this law works like a magical contract like everything else.
So Avengers Civil
literally War. No, she literally can tell if they sign this law. I think she literally can command any user to use their ability at her will, and I think she orders.
You're very close.
Okay,
I thought she forced him to age himself up.
Oh, it was her command.
Mm-mm.
No. Oh, he was just traumatized by it.
Yeah, no, you're really close. Basically, the law was just a law, but the people that they registered, she gave a choice to. The choice was sign a fealty contract so you become my slave or die. And so she used that to make sure that his wife or his fiance would die. Is that
a choice?
His wife.
Right, exactly. To make sure that she would die, and then gleefully lorded it over him how yes, you signed it into you got this law passed and I made sure she died and
mostly dead.
Yeah, and so what he had been doing is he was shifting between the child face and the old man face. Is the impression I got was the old man face was when he was going to be the old counselor to the king, and you'd barely even see that and weren't supposed to know that it was the same person in the game. And then when that happened, he lost the middle normal aged version of himself, and so he was stuck in the old man or the little child version, something like that. So it's weird. It's honestly not very clear, and I'm not certain of why he would not have just been the little child instead of the old man.
I'm not certain at this point why I asked this question.
No, I want to talk about Gilbert. Gilbert, at the beginning, they keep having him give her glowing looks, she does something nice, and he's like, and I'm like, oh. He knows she's supposed to be evil. He's planning on her to be evil. He must be the hook we've been waiting for. And nope. He's just suspicious, I guess.
Yep. Every single person that has something wrong. Yeah. Every single person that has something wrong for some reason that can be fixed. And that's something that just really annoys me here. Gilbert's no different. His reason. Fix it. All's good. He's perfect.
Episode 2.
Oh, here we go.
All right, Gilbert. Nope. Yeah, Stale gets to start
Somebody-
writing letters to his mom.
Right.
In this episode, Stale makes 3 separate vows to always protect Pride. It's like there'll be a scene he's like, I'm always gonna protect her, and then like she'd do something nice, and he's like, I swear again. It's like, no, we got it, dude. You're good. And then they have the big party where she gets to meet her sister. For some reason, the sisters are kept apart. I missed it.
Mhm.
It-
Until
it-
she's 6 years old. Mhm.
Right. So she gets to meet her younger sister, Tiara. And again, this is the protagonist of the real game. Your guys' thoughts on Tiara?
Yeah, right?
Like I have no idea who this character is because all she does is whine and complain in the background, and then
She's the hero.
say she has nothing. She has no value to the story.
Well, and it shows you that the way the game must have been played, her entire purpose for you as a player character was to fix the boys. That's
Right.
it. Which is fine. Like, if that's the way the game's written, that's the way the game's written. But as far as a compelling character in this world, boring.
Okay, hold on. So the
Wow.
hold on. So is it just Arthur and Gil are the only two? Because I thought in these games there's like a plethora of people
Gil,
you're supposed to
Val.
bone.
No, not Val. Val is not. Okay. Val is not a romantic interest for Tiara in the future. So far, we've only met Stale and Arthur.
So is there more to come?
Did
Basically,
you get that from the wiki? Or
No.
is that just an...
She
Are we
does.
just making that assumption?
Val is a villain who works with Pride in the game. She does say that. That's how she knew how his power worked. That Pride
That's
and
true.
Pride uses Val to team up and help her with her conquest. So we know Val isn't a love interest. Gilbert already has a wife, so we know he's not a love interest, and that's about it.
so I thought in these dating sims there's like a plethora of people that you're supposed to be able
Right,
to talk
but they're
to.
still 13. So
You just haven't met him yet?
yeah, I just think they
Oh,
haven't
okay.
popped up into the story yet.
Also,
See,
like
now I
when
gotta look it
does my question is I'm not sure why I'm asking this. Like when does the protagonist take control of Tiara? Because it's going to be really strange if a 35-year-old man is playing a 8-year-old Tiara looking for a love interest.
That's what I was drunkenly trying to say at the beginning when I was saying I was Sephiroth and who's playing Cloud. Should I be worried? And again, because she's in the literal video game, she's not asking, am I in a video game or I'm in a world that looks identical to the game? Thus, is Tiara really my sister or someone that a human being is going to start remote controlling in the future?
Gil can be pursued as a love interest in the game.
As a secret character, that makes sense. Because his wife died,
His wife
so thus
dies.
he would be
His fiancé
available.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about Val yet, but yeah.
I
That
mean,
makes
if you're looking for a long life, I mean, Gil's basically the hook, right?
Heck yeah.
Make sure his wife dies, and then he can keep you young forever.
That's right. That's what Pride was thinking.
All right. So yeah, she. Did we talk about Tiara? Did anyone share an opinion?
Yes. I did.
Sort of.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Jeremy's turn.
I kind of
Jeremy, what
did.
did you
It's
think
just-
of flat vanilla character?
I think there was a massive opportunity missed. I would have loved to have seen like what was this character like if she wasn't controlled by a human.
That's the
What if
title of
another
this anime.
what if another person actually was brought into this world and is controlling this character and they're not anticipating you or they have different agendas or maybe they've never played the game before? There's just so much they could have done with this character and they did nothing. Absolutely nothing. The ball was really dropped with this character.
Yeah, I mean, again, tons of cool things they could have done with Tiara. I agree.
What'd you think of her?
Flowers. She likes flowers.
Yeah, yeah.
She likes
There's-
princess.
In this scene where she meets her, there's a scene where she's like, "I'm a little jealous of her."
Yeah.
No, it's gone. I'm good. Okay. Sorry, I was afraid you might get interesting there for a second. My bad. Oh, yeah. All right, so they have this party. Gilbert does what Gilbert does. Oh, what do you guys think? Shut up, Gilbert. No one likes you. And Pride meets the captain of the guards. His name is Roderick. He's going to be not very important, but he leads to another character. She's like, I recognize him. And then they show it's about his son, who looks identical to him in the game.
Yeah.
She's like,
No, he's got long hair.
Not
Oh,
in the
and then-
game as an adult.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this,
no, that's
in the same episode that Stale has vowed 3 times to protect Pride. Pride, for like the 4th time, vows that she's going to protect her country at the end of the
There's a
episode.
lot of vowing in this anime.
So much vowing.
all of the vow.
If you drink every time you'll
Yes.
vow, you'll be caught up with me now.
Yes.
All right, guys. How do you serve spaghetti? Do you put the noodles and then put the sauce on top, or do you
Yes.
mix
Yes.
them You're heathens.
Noodles, then
Okay.
sauce, then Parmesan.
Okay, my wife, she puts a little bit of the sauce into the noodles to like loosen them up, and then she serves it, and then put more sauce and then Parmesan.
If my noodles haven't soaked in marinara sauce for 15 minutes before it gets to my plate, I'm upset.
Just throwing it.
It's 2 different things. It's a plate of boring noodles with some sauce on top, and I want the noodles to soak up I make spaghetti to eat it the next day when it's like had maximum soakage. So even sitting for 15 minutes is like, I'll put up with this knowing that my lunch tomorrow is going to be amazing.
Have you ever considered you might be a spaghetti
Snob.
snob?
No, guys, I said it before. You're heathens. Heathens.
Oh, it's not.
Uncultured
Once to get a
swine.
name.
The only reason to not pre-mix it is because people want to dip into their sauce and you want to have extra sauce. But just make more sauce. Have extra sauce on the
Or
side.
maybe
for
serve
people
it
who
the
are
traditional way. I don't know.
traditional. To by whose standards?
The Italians, the people
Yeah,
that
the
came
ones
up
that
with
made the
spaghetti.
I'll bet you the Italians pre-mix it.
He's so toned.
And I'm sure they break their noodles before they boil them too.
Yeah.
Right.
I would never do that.
Now, I did see a really interesting way to cook spaghetti I've never heard of before, where you actually take the noodles and you like fry
Where are we
them
going?
in spaghetti sauce, and it turns charred. It's really weird.
Oh,
It's crispy and crunchy spaghetti.
I've done
Really-
carbonara where you take the noodles and cook it up in the bacon grease at the beginning.
Mm.
Sorry.
Party foul. Jason had a party foul.
It was a disaster averted.
All right. Next episode.
This was
Please share your
terrible.
thoughts. Please share your thoughts on how to serve spaghetti and don't give me any of this heathen crap. Time passes. 3 years.
They're 11.
They're doing sword training. Pride starts doing it, and she's master because she's the last.
She
She
watched
has-
it once.
She
She
has
watched it
the
once,
last
exactly.
boss cheat, which never is clearly defined. It's just
No.
I don't know if it's she can't lose until the end of the game, or is it she just automatically has max stats because anytime she's fought, she has to be the last boss.
The best that I could understand from how it was described in the sub was she learns everything she sees just by watching it once.
There is
And yeah,
What,
and
what does that have to do with
doesn't
being the last boss?
Well, only the last boss has that. And having an ability like that makes you a cheater, so she calls it a cheat. But it's not technically cheating. Now, how this allows her to cut steel with a sword, block bullets with a sword, flip through the air like it's nothing, I have no idea.
she's cheating.
She is,
That's
but
that's the point.
Not explained.
Doesn't need to be if she's cheating. It's kind of like
Well-
in Call of Duty when someone snipes you across the map without zooming in.
Yeah.
So let me properly set up my voyage through this episode. So
Oh,
we watched
okay.
this
Story
sword
time.
training. Then we get to her observing the knights as they go through their training, and they go through their sword training. And then they get a call. The captain of the knights, who couldn't be there for training, he had a mission he was called to. He's been under attack, and they have a guy who has the ability to basically do Skype calls. And he puts it up on the screen that he makes with his eyeballs, and the captain's holding a Glock.
Yes.
We watched 10 minutes of sword training, and I'm like, you have guns? Quit training your knights and swords. Go to a firing range. I threw things. I was so mad. He's on the video screen holding a gun, popping the magazine into the butt, and I'm like, no, you did not. Just decide this was a civilization with guns and not muskets where swords might still come into play. No, he has a clip.
Semi-automatic.
It's a semi-automatic. Swords are now useless in your civilization. They are ceremonial at best.
Yep.
Oh,
And
man.
I'm not the one who gets mad about stuff like that, but that is
Yep.
so
No,
Give me
it's
a-
okay. Oh, I gotta compounding on that. This dude's ability is I can't be cut by blades. But literally
Shoot
everyone
me.
on the battlefield has a gun.
and then but when he gets stuck and the cliff is gonna collapse and she knows that because in the game he's stuck and all the bad guys run up and start hitting him with swords and they're like this isn't working. Someone shoots him and is like the guns work, we should use the gun.
You couldn't write better comedy. My only weakness. Bullets.
Oh no, they brought a gun.
Oh,
Oh, no.
oh God. Oh.
Oh man.
You know, we need an anime like this every now and then. We really do.
Oh no.
Okay. I have one other complaint. Far lesser, but it bugged me. And that is
Oh my god.
they were having all these training exercises and everything, and the captain took the greenest rookies to go into another nation to do exercises. Instead of leaving the rookies at home to do the training in the safe environment at home and taking the semi-veteran soldiers for the exercises. Like, even that made no sense to me. Strategically. Nothing compared to guns, though. Oh.
So she remembers that there's going to be a collapse of the cliff in
They
the
get all-
original game.
They get all the knights out except for this guy who then tries to cut off his own leg and it's like, oh, that's right, I can't cut.
Oh my God, why did he try?
Because his foot is stuck. His son runs into the room randomly and is like, Dad, I know I hate knights and I didn't want to be a knight, but don't die, Dad. And his dad's like, well, sorry, son, but I'm a knight and my foot is stuck and they do
It's
have
like
the
cut off the
guns.
feed.
On one
Like-
side, they make
Yeah,
it so
one
he
side.
can't see, they can still watch. Hey, kid, get up front and center. Your dad's about to die. Don't want to miss this. It's gonna be real good. So Pride has Stale teleport her to the battlefield where she wipes out all the bad guys,
Except for
Rec-
one.
recognizes a guy from the game with a power, grabs him and is like, "Hey, use your power. Or we're all gonna die." from the
No,
cliff."
it's better. She whispers into his ear, and so the audience can't hear what it is, and then we find out in the next episode.
The
What I
most
don't,
obvious possible thing that she could say.
I did miss something. He was hiding off in the trees, and then suddenly
Yeah.
he was standing with Captain Roderick.
Yeah, I think he
Because
came in
she
for a
threw
killing
him at
blow.
him.
Oh, she threw him. That's right. You're right. Mm-hmm.
I did not like that answer. All right, we need to talk about the son, though. He is an important character. His name is Arthur. Your guys' thoughts on Arthur?
He was okay. Where he fit into the story. Besides his groveling, I'll protect you for all time, I'll be your sword kind of garbage.
PG-13, please.
Yeah, I'm trying. He, he had a decent arc of, I don't want to be this thing. I think what irritated me, though, is I haven't picked up a sword in 5 years, but I can defeat everyone I spar against. Okay. I guess he's just that talented of a knight, or going to be. But after that, he's okay. He does his thing. He has this weird bromance with Stale sometimes. But besides that, it's he's fine.
Yeah. I thought they could have expounded a little bit more, especially where he's like, "Oh, why can't I beat you, Dad?" After never holding a sword for 5 years, captain of the guard that he couldn't beat. I think it could have been interesting if his dad was just known as a sloppy swordsman because he knew he couldn't be injured, so he didn't really train. He just went out there and flailed around, did what he could,
and get tipsy, which he did.
Yeah, so he absolutely did. So
in the morning, the best time,
all night, I believe.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Yeah,
tail of the dog.
Yep. So I don't know. I think they could have done more with him, obviously, but yeah, I didn't have as much of a problem with him as I did with the others. Very similar to what you were saying, Jason. The bromance thing wasn't too annoying. It kind of was a good opportunity for him to sort of ground Stale, like poke fun at him for all the brooding, stupid things that I was irritated with him over. It was nice to see him do the same thing, like yell at him for, don't give that fake smile, and, things like that. That was okay. But just the constant back and forth of reaffirming their desire to protect Pride was just so much. And just like you were saying before, Troy, with like the vows, it's just these guys were making vows a lot too.
I was super frustrated he became a knight. Like, she changed fates, which he, in the original game, Pride knows the dad's gonna die, watches it happen, and it's like, haha, that was great.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I will become a knight like my father and get vengeance on her. And then instead he's like, well, I'll become a knight like your father and protect you. And I'm like, being a gardener with your power would be amazing.
Yeah.
Or
feed the whole kingdom.
Later, you could be a doctor and cure so many people. And he's like, no, knight stuff.
Fame and fortune, nah.
Yep.
I did like his calling out Stale. Like, quit being like a phony around me. Can you just like be
Stop
a real
with the
person
fake
for a
smile.
minute? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. Otherwise, he was super one note and just there as like the second best swordsman in the anime because Pride exists.
Yeah. He was kind of unnecessary. Like they even give him like this token moment where he gets to leap up and swing his sword at a guy, but isn't even the one that finishes him off.
Right.
And then his dad, which his only weakness, gun.
Trained by the best.
So she saves everyone, and then the knights have a meeting with her where they're like, "Hey," well, specifically Captain Roderick is like, "Hey, A, how did that happen? And B, why would you, the princess, try to protect us, the knights? That's a really stupid way of running a country." And she's like, "Well, yes, but also this is how I want to do it. I'm a princess. I wanted to save you." And also, I'm sorry. And then they all cry and get on their knees to her. And
the amount of crying in this anime is nauseating.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved the first half of this meeting and I hated the second half. Like the points he was making were very good. That's the purpose of the knights, is to die to protect the princess. She's more important than any of them or all of them. But the fact that she gets to win the argument, I just absolutely hate that.
This is like the NYPD going, "Hey, Superman, we have to protect you."
It kind of is,
No,
but it
'cause
kind of isn't.
It'd be if Superman was the president. And then you,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, Superman, you can't be the first one to run in.
Right. Like
Yeah.
she
And
has
it's like,
these
well,
powers. She has
You're
these
basically
powers.
invincible. Why do you have a security force?
Yeah, but I don't think she's supposed to be invincible. Like, I wonder when in the game she gets that ability.
She officially meets Arthur here too, where he like, can a lowly no good
Can I simp
farmer
for you too?
like me become a knight? She's like, yeah, probably. I don't know. I'll support you.
Simp Knight Ultra.
Do you guys think there are more doors or wheels in the world?
Ooh. Wheels.
It's a weird question.
It's a good question.
Are you talking
I
about
think
real
there's
world or
wheels.
this world?
Real world.
Oh, definitely wheels. I mean, because like every
Wheels.
car has 4 doors, but there's lots of cars that have more than.
But
Well, I mean, like semi-trucks have like 16.
Most houses don't have wheels.
My chair
That's a
has
good
wheels.
point.
That's true.
Oh, dude.
My cabinets have doors.
There's cabinets with wheels and doors.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're moving on.
Do we?
Do drawers count as doors?
The wheels on the things that make the drawer come out.
That's right.
Arthur starts training. Guys, focus on the anime.
You
Arthur
started
starts. I came up with side topics to fill time, and yet we've been on this call for 2 hours. I don't know when that happened. But I still want to do the topic, so we're gonna rush through.
Okay.
All right, I'm taking the microphone off.
Get right in there.
Okay, guys.
It's got real-
Arthur does training with his dad, who's hungover, and then the queen goes.
Right in.
No, Pride meets. I got this. Pride meets with the knights and Roderick, and they're all simping for her. Then Arthur shows up with his dad's sword, and Stale's like, "Hey, let's do training." And then they talk for 15 minutes straight just to say, "I want you to get stronger to protect the queen and get me stronger too."
Mhm.
That's it.
Yep.
Oh, also, they're best friends now. Did you think there'd be potential love rivals that would create conflict? Well, you haven't been watching very well.
So
No.
if you're
Read the hints, man.
if you're
Best friends
skiing
forever.
and there's someone skiing behind you and you're like eating a banana, right? And you throw the peel behind you and they run over it. Are they gonna like spin out? Or because the skis are meant for a slippery surface like snow, they'll just like ignore it.
Banana peels aren't actually slippery.
When they're frozen while you're skiing.
It wouldn't be frozen because you would take it out of your like knapsack.
Have you
to
ever
eat it.
stepped on a banana peel and slipped?
No, I've never stepped on a banana peel.
Guys, also quicksand, not that dangerous. We were lied to by movies in the 80s. Move on.
Have you ever played Mario Kart?
Not by choice. Pride learns the law. And then because she started learning the law, her mom's like, "Hey, it's time for you to pass judgment on that bad guy."
Oh my god, yes.
So this is where she's like, "Hey, I can kill you, or you can sign a slave contract." And he's like, "Slave contract?" And she's like,
Fealty.
"Fealty contract." Sorry.
You'll be the slave.
And she orders him he can never do violence, even in self-defense, for the rest of his life. He has to give up the location of the knights that were abducted. Even though I thought
by the
everyone was
way,
saved.
I know you
Apparently they
almost
weren't.
killed all my knights on that cliffside, but hey, if you need help, come find me.
Yeah. Her last statements. But that comes after he saves them.
This is very much in line with her character. I was fine with that. I mean, it was predictable, but I don't have a problem.
Well, this is one of those things where I kept thinking, okay, this is weird because are you actually going to make this guy your slave? Like, at the same time, by taking away those abilities and everything, you are forcing him into a situation where he can have empathy, which is it's kind of good. That's an interesting solution for him.
Stop it, Jeremy.
So, like,
Okay, can we just look? We
I
gotta
don't
talk
know.
about him anyway. Talk about Val. If you're gonna talk about Val, can I just say what do you think of Val first?
yeah, say it.
Thank you. What do you think of Val first, Jeremy? Not you, Jason.
Okay.
He's already
So-
started. Let him finish.
Yeah, I'll just finish. So I think there was a lot of potential with Val, more so than probably a lot of the other characters. Was it capitalized on? They did a better job with Val. They had him be a more interesting character. And this question of whether if you take away the things that he uses to get what he wants, right, his fists and his abilities, then how is he going to deal with life? Because that's what everybody else has. And so now he suddenly has the empathy for where those other people are at in life. But then the anime does a really weird thing where it goes back and it paints his backstory in a sympathetic light, where it's like, oh yeah, no, he's a product of his environment and nothing more. Even though the heinous things that he's done are so incredibly bad that you would expect those to scar him for life. And the way that he winds up looking after everything is resolved is he's just like, hey, I'm happy papa over here with my new kids. And just, I would expect a little bit more broodiness and baggage, but he took everything, even the positive things, in stride once he got through his crying session. Like, it's almost like she literally comes in, she fixes somebody, and at that moment they are fixed. It's no longer an issue of something that they're going to have to continue working through in their life, but they're fixed. It's done. It's over. Move on. And in that part, I really dislike him.
Is this that anime? Is that what the anime is? I can fix him.
Yes.
Honest question. Is that worse than the normal male power fantasy that we have of I can beat anybody just because of this OP power I got? If the female power fantasy is I can fix anyone's problems with some kindness and empathy, is that really any less lazy than what we watch in Slime?
I think it is. I think it is. And the only reason I think it is because if you beat somebody and they're dead at the end, I can understand that you beat them. And that is that pivotal point in their life where they stop winning. They're done. They're dead. They're gone. Now, if you beat
not
them,
life anymore.
Right, exactly. Whereas if she comes in and she fixes them, well, then she's tweaked something in their mind to improve them. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that is a long-term fix, or that it was without any negative side effects, or that they don't have to continue working their way up to that complete fix. And this was just like a step in the right direction, maybe a big step, but still just a step. So I guess it would be comparative to the male power fantasy if the male didn't kill his opponent, but just beat them into submission, and then after that submission they switch sides and join them. It would be that equivalent, I think.
I would say from a realistic point of view, I get what you're saying. From a storytelling point of view, I think both are unsatisfying equally.
Not just unsatisfying, but unrealistic. You've got a guy that has these tendencies to do criminal things, right?
Yeah.
and then you're forcing this empathy or whatever onto him.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you think that forcing him into these situations where he can't either defend himself or that he has to come crawling back to a 13-year-old girl is going to make
Right.
change of heart? I assume that would just make you more bitter.
Mm-hmm.
That would just make you fight against the system harder.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
also not just unrealistic; it's unsatisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Guys,
What? Please tell me.
he
I
sends
need
him
to know
away.
more.
He sends him away. She sends him away. And also with the command, if you ever need help, you'll come back to me. Time passes.
Hey,
There's a scene with flowers. I don't
Violent
care.
criminal human trafficker. Please come back to me if you need help.
Right. I know.
Arthur's going to take the night exam. Gilbert watches grumpily from a window.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the greatest anime waifu of all time?
Gilbert.
What?
Rem.
I think we're losing Jason.
I think we've lost him. It's that side ponytail. That's what it is.
At what age, though, Jason? At what age?
That's a good question. That's up for
Grandpa.
debate. No,
Grandpa Gilbert.
Well, okay, not seriously. That's your question. But As Death was pretty great.
Esda. Which one was Esda?
Oh, yeah, I don't.
Agame Kakil?
Oh,
The one with the blue hair?
Yeah.
The
The
Ice
crazy one
Queen?
with the weird tattoo. Yeah.
That's your waifu of choice? Is the crazy...
Jason's got a dominatrix fetish.
She is... Okay, this is YouTube, right? I can't...
Yeah, no. Get PG-13. I'm not here for your fetishes.
Drawn very well. Let's put it that way.
Jeremy, what's your waifu of all time?
I'm just gonna stay loyal to Rem. That's all.
Okay.
I picked her a long time ago. I assume it was for good reasons, so I'm gonna agree
As
with that.
Death's got some other qualities and tracts of land better than Rem.
Well, I don't know. Rem's pretty impressive.
Not like As Death.
Mine is Saber from Fate Stay Night.
Oh, give me a break.
Oh, of course.
Oh, come on.
You've
been saying
Saber.
that for years.
She's one of my favorite characters.
Grow beyond.
Aerith. There you go.
Tifa?
Is Advent Children considered an anime? Because that's a video game character you described.
Tifa then?
Is
Is that
anime
what you're
style.
thinking of?
And I said anime.
Well, you just said
waifu.
waifu. You didn't specify anime waifu.
Look, I wrote down anime waifu, so I damn well meant it.
Okay. Well, you slurred it. It's not my fault.
Episode 7. Arthur's a knight now, and as a present, he gives Slate glasses.
Oh,
For no reason. Just they look good.
Hey, I think you're gonna look real cool in these.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Does that happen? Really? Do people give each other glasses because they'll look good in glasses? Like,
yeah, I know
it's
these are
purely as
non-prescription.
fashion? Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know Jason's glasses are fake. He's just doing it for appearance.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, put them back. Put them back.
Ah, you look terrible.
Where did your eyes go?
The anime could just literally been like, "Hey, we need to make you hotter to be a main character. You need to put these on.
Right.
You've got to fit a trope."
Uh-huh.
Then we get a glimpse of him older.
All right,
And
so
he does actually look better. He looks more handsome.
Yeah, no. Look, there's a people have that type. That trope has to.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry. I gotta ask this question.
No, you don't.
Yeah, no. Okay, so when Gil transforms them either up or down, like older or younger, why do their clothes also
Yes.
transform with them
Yes.
and fit perfectly, whether they're young or old, and vice versa?
Why wouldn't they?
Because the clothes don't
He
grow.
can change the
It's
age
magic.
of clothes.
It's magic. It's not science.
No, the magic is aging
but
them
if-
up.
He aged
Yeah,
the clothes
not
and they got all
scratching
stretched
them.
out.
Clothes don't age like that.
The clothes don't get bigger because they got older.
They get bigger when you get fatter.
Anime, they do. Okay, wait. So you guys, no. This isn't fair. We've all watched Dragon Ball Z. We all love Dragon Ball Z. Piccolo shoots a beam at Gohan that literally changes his clothes, and we're all fine with that. but his magic power, this guy's magic power affects clothes, and we have to have a complaint. It's magic. There's no rules.
Well, it's not magic in DBZ either.
There's
No,
no
it's not magic in
power.
DBZ.
He's materializing something
There's
there
no
with his
rules. Why
mind.
are we complaining about Pride's abilities?
Special clothes cannon.
Oh, yes, yes.
All right, I'm gonna go forward, Jason. You're gonna be quiet for a little while.
This is your fault,
White coolers will get you, man.
dude. Good
Okay.
stuff.
Okay. So
Yes,
okay,
so-
Gilbert is trying to put into that special law we mentioned earlier, where in the game, Pride uses it to basically take control of the country. He's doing it, which is slowly revealed through this episode, because his fiance is dying and he needs a healer. And he's basically doing whatever it takes to find a healer. He's been waiting all this time. And he gets called out by the dad for confronting Pride. And him and the dad are having this conversation. He's like, oh, yeah? I broke that one rule about letting that kid write a letter to his mom. And you won't let me enslave every user in the country. You big jerk. Oh. Okay. So, and then he disappears. And this is when Pride remembers who he is in the game and is like, oh, we do need to help him. So they teleport and save him from being mugged.
Even though he was about to commit treason.
Right.
Mhm.
And then we see his backstory, which is very sad. And we're not going to go into it.
Treason.
He was committing a little light treason and enslavement and trafficking.
Yeah.
He was doing all kinds of bad stuff to find a
Yep.
healer. And so in his last ditch effort was just to go into town and be like, do you know a healer? Muggers? And the mugger's like,
'Cause if
no,
you
we're going to
do-
mug you now.
I'm going to give you all the secrets to the palace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go into like a long rant about all his crimes, and I'm like, when was he doing this? We didn't see any of this. Like, oh, you did all this horrible stuff. I'm like, we know that? Okay. Maybe
Yeah.
we did. I don't remember.
Mm-mm.
After the backstory, Pride is like, I forgive you. It's all good.
Of course she is, because she's gonna fix everyone.
I'll be honest here. I was like, okay, we have stakes. There's a life on the line because Pride knows the wife or the future wife, whatever those are called.
Fiance.
Fiancés.
Yeah,
She's like,
your
she
wife.
dies tonight in the game. I know this is the night she dies. We have to find a healer now. So they go and they get Gilbert, and I'm like, okay, so we have stakes, we have a time, we have a ticking clock. That is how you build tension. And then Pride's like, hey, Arthur, come with me. Use your power on this lady. Boom. 5 minutes into the episode, the problem is solved.
Yeah.
All tension gone.
Well, and the tension is supposed to shift to, oh no, Arthur now knows that he can heal when he wasn't supposed to know that for like another 3 or 5 years or something. Like, well, so
Yeah,
what?
she's like, hey, I'm going to change the course of your life.
You already did.
Yeah, what? So yeah, apparently he has human healing abilities.
No.
And
And
He can heal anything in creation.
all
Is
of
how it was
creation.
expressed in sub. It's like he can heal all of creation, and I'm like, what?
And then
Are all
Gil
these characters
proceeds
God tier?
to show his foot fetish.
Yeah, he does.
hey,
Yep.
for people who love this anime and also have a foot fetish, this is your anime. I
That
take
Venn
back-
diagram. I love Venn diagrams.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. She's 13 years old. You no, it's creepy.
There's a problem.
I
Yes.
forgot about that part. Yeah, especially since the two people who do the kissing and licking of her feet and
Are
back of her
both
calves
adults.
are both
Yes.
adult men, and she's still 13. And
Yep.
I was
in
like,
front of his
that's-
fiance.
that is why I went to the
Yep.
wiki to look up ages. That is exactly why I went.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and especially like you said, Jason, the fact that like I expected his fiance in the background to have as much of a freaked out expression as
Oh,
Arthur
no.
and Stale, but no, she's just like all in.
She was into it.
Uh-huh.
She's like, when are you
what
going to do that to me?
That's-
Sorry,
I don't know.
PG-13. I can't help myself.
I want you guys to know I regret picking up the microphone. It's getting heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
All right. Stale promises not to cry for 5 years. Good for you, Stale.
Oh God, this one.
Well, and Arthur makes the commitment with him.
Yeah.
How many? Okay, how many? Answer in the comments. How many of you males had to vow not to cry for 5 years in order to not cry for 5 years? Like, is that common?
Have you not cried in
just-
5 years?
Thank you.
You
That
goddamn
sarcasm
monster.
is very appreciated.
I'm being serious. Do you cry, Jeremy?
No, I do
What?
not cry. No, dude.
I've cried this week.
No,
Okay,
you're
I
pulling my
don't
leg,
cry
man.
that often.
No.
Okay. I cry usually from a movie or something, but yeah, I
Okay, wait. There's a difference between like a single tear that goes down your cheek while you're watching something impressive.
You're right.
Versus
I get the eye waters a lot.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
sob.
that's not
I-
crying. I will die on that hill. That is not crying.
I say I'd sob once a year.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember the last time I sobbed.
It's a very real reason
Huh.
though. It's a sad. I have sad backstory. There's good.
Oh,
reason
okay,
for it.
okay. That's good reason.
Other than that, no.
I just
You're right.
bottle up my backstory and like
Yeah.
lock it away.
When did this become confession time?
3 drinks in. All right.
Anyways, that bugged me. So carry on.
Gilbert marries his fiance.
Yay!
Wait, really?
All right. Next question for you guys.
Oh, no.
What one Skyrim mod should everyone try?
Oh,
Sky
I made
UI.
I made this for you guys. I don't
better
know what that is.
bodies.
No! No! What's wrong?
You deserve to cry.
PG-13. What's wrong with you?
You're sober. What is your problem?
There was a really cool tree one way back.
It was a tree one. Thanks.
Just that one.
Nice recovery. Jason, what was yours?
Sky UI. I can't play the game without it. It basically ports the game into PC so it can be used with a mouse seamlessly.
Oh, man.
Because it's
We
made
want-
for a console. And it was
Right.
ported to
I
PC.
would never play that with a mouse.
The only
Next
way
one
to
would
play.
be AXP? AXO? AXP.
What about the combat overhaul? I would have thought for sure that'd be high up there.
No, yeah, that AXP combat overhaul. It makes
Ah,
it
okay.
so you can play the game like Dark Souls with a controller.
Arthur becomes the official guardsman to Pride after winning a tournament to do so. Then her carriage is pulled over because there's a guy who's injured in the road, and they're like, "Don't worry, we'll get him out of the road right now." And she's like, "Should we check on him?" And hey, it turns out to be Val, who, against his will, has had to march back to her to ask for help because we find out.
He couldn't even defend himself.
Yep.
Look, this really bugs me because they have him literally explain the whole backstory, and then they take the time to show us the backstory. And by the time they were, and the backstory was good. I actually enjoyed the flashback, but you already had this all spoken in dialogue before this, and I was frustrated. I got very frustrated at this point.
You know the old say adage, show, don't tell. No, we're doing both.
That's right.
How are we
We're
gonna
not
fill
sure
out
we're
the
gonna-
runtime?
Execute. We're not
Right.
sure we're gonna execute well on either, so do them both.
So yeah, after he found 2 kids living in his house or the hovel, he's got a mattress in,
Broke it. Like there was no roof.
like
Yep.
Aladdin style. He's living
Yeah,
Aladdin
yeah.
style. And these 2 kids are like,
Homeless.
okay,
That's
yeah.
the word.
Homeless, but this is my mattress on the ground.
Yep.
And these two kids started following him around, and he's like, and now they've been abducted, and I have to bring 5 new kids to them to get these 2 kids back.
A little more nuance in there, but basically.
You son of. And
There's the only reason
he-
I call it out is because this is like the only arc in the entire anime, and like he goes from criminal to dad, and it's actually kind of heartwarming. That's the only reason I bring it up.
Well, so his explanation is like, I don't even like these kids. I just like have to do this because they help me live comfortably. Which is Tiara had asked him the question of like, why do you need the kids, or why are you trying to save the kids? And that was his answer, and she's all offended by it. But Pride, realizing that Tiara was onto something, sends her away and is like, no, tell me the truth because you have to, because you're my slave.
I love when she goes in for the hug and she's like, don't stop me. It's like, okay.
Allow me to hug you.
Yeah.
Let me fix you.
Basically he's like, yeah, these kids make me sick. But what he means is I feel guilt and shame and worry about them, and I'm feeling empathy for the first time in my life. And she realizes this. She's like, okay, we're gonna help you. He's like, I don't want you to help me. She's like, yeah, too bad, we're helping you. So their plan is they get turned into kids by Gilbert, because we know he can change your age, and then he turns Pride and all her friends, including Gilbert. Gilbert's on the team now, if you didn't know. I don't know how you know. I didn't tell you.
Well, he kissed her feet to make sure that his faithfulness to her.
They get abducted, but hey, they have Stale, the master teleporter of all things, and you can do anything. He's so powerful, they literally have to knock him out through part of this plot line to cripple him. Stale and Val. Did we talk about Val?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. They go to rescue where they think the kids will be, while the others are allow themselves to be abducted, and they end up where the kids actually are.
How's that microphone?
It's so heavy. The kids, realizing that Val is there, and they're like, we don't care about him, but we were worried about him. So the girl starts blasting the bad guys with water, and she escapes. Meanwhile, Val and Stale are wiping the floor with the bad guys. Stale finds a electric shock man kid and teleports him out to a lake.
Yep. After getting severely burned.
And being knocked out.
Yep.
Val also gets abducted. The knights show up and they're like, hey, there's an 8-year-old version of the princess here. Sweet. That's awesome. We love it.
It's so creepy. They're like, can I hold her? What the heck?
They have this big battle. They win thanks to Pride. Oh, okay. So Pride has to face the chain controller leader of the bad guys. She gets aged up by Gilbert right when she starts fighting him and beats him, and then has one of the other guards murder him because she doesn't want to get blood on her hands. In the next scene, she's 8 years old again.
Yeah.
Yeah, why did they put her back?
They put her back.
It's to keep up the facade for the other captured people outside.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, the knights know now, but not all the captured people know.
But then why are they carrying her? She can travel on her own 2 feet.
The fact that Stale also was not aged up, like after they got free, like he's gonna be running around doing whatever he wants. There's no reason a 13-year even make him adult Stale. He had made him adult Stale to be more effective in saving his fiance, but not here. Nope, you be 8-year-old Stale.
Yep, here's fine.
I don't know why I'm still complaining.
Bombs fall out of the sky.
Maybe the bag. Bombs fall out of the sky. I forgot to write down another topic question. We should probably get done anyway. It's fine. I have a question.
Oh no.
Jeremy's our designated podcast driver, and he's doing a great job. But
Is he though?
is there a drink? Is there any drink you like? He actually told me before the podcast. I already know the answer to this question, but I wanted to ask him anyway.
Oh, I don't know.
Drink I like Irish cream, Bailey's Irish cream.
That's
a good
my
one.
go-to choice. Cold winter day, Irish cream. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Do a shot of Irish cream, drop it in a Guinness. So good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
because of the liquid density, basically stays mostly in the shot glass at the bottom of the cup. So you pound the Guinness, and then when you get to the end, you get a shot of Irish cream. It's pretty delicious.
That'd probably be too much for me.
Yeah.
I would probably just sip the Irish cream.
This is the most I've drank in like 3 years. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This
Actually, I
anime
think
broke.
the last time I drank this much is when we did our
Rocket League.
Rocket League. So good.
Yeah, you guys
I
told me
can't-
stories about that one.
I can't believe I won that last goal. I was so happy.
I don't remember. I was drunk. Yeah, we play Rocket
You guys
League
were so mad at me.
every time a goal is
Yeah,
scored. You have to drink unless you're the one who scored the goal.
Right.
And if you accidentally score a goal in your own goal, you have to take everyone else's drinks for them.
Ooh.
And then we somehow think like, why is our ranking going down? Because we play ranked instead. All right, episode 11. Oh, the kids came back into the cave. Their names are Setik and Kemet, which means 3 and 7, because he thinks that's their ages.
Mm-hmm.
Val is like, I can save them. The 3-year-old is locked behind a wall, and Val's like, I'll save them, and everyone's trying to help, and then he's like, no, I have to do this alone. I don't want you all to die. So Pride's like, okay, send us away, because remember, he can't do anything unless she orders him to. So he sends them away, and then when she gets out, they see the 7-year-old shoot in the water, no longer like any water at all, and Gilbert's like, hey, remember how our powers have no cost and can do whatever we want them to do? It's weird her powers got weaker. So she runs back in and she's like, hey, you need to grab the 3-year-old's hand. The 3-year-old, he's a power enhancer.
He's a battery.
Dude, have him hold Arthur's hand.
Yeah, heal the world, man.
Heal the world. Why do I have to think of this stuff? They get out, more bombs drop. This isn't explained, and I'm guessing this is for further. There's bad guys up there in an invisible balloon.
From another nation, apparently.
From another nation attacking.
Yeah, and I get the impression that, because she said this a couple of times, oh, if you have powers, you must be part of my kingdom. So I get the impression that anyone with powers outside of the kingdom is actually a traitor to this kingdom that is seeking to undermine it.
Also, like, this is a human trafficking ring that's like a hidden base for them. How
Why
did
did
this
these
other
guys show
nation
up
know they
here?
were there?
Yeah.
And like they
Yep.
came prepared with bombs. So like they're in hot air balloons. Like if they were in jet fighters, sure, they could have scrambled them once they got the information. But we're talking about the human traffickers didn't even know that they were coming, let alone there.
Yep.
Never mind. It's not worth it.
Yep.
Where is the invention of the gun compared to the car? In timeline. Are they close? There's no cars. There's only horse-drawn carriages here.
Gun or semi-auto?
Yeah, that's the important thing. We're at
There's a big difference, right? Because the gun was
right.
18,
I'm not talking about
1700s,
muzzles,
right?
Or
Because the first paper cartridges were done before the Civil War, so like
that's true.
being able to like quickly feed a weapon was done pretty early. But as far as like semi-auto, where it's a mechanical action done by the compression of the powder, I mean, technically that's the revolver.
Which most of them had. It did seem like
That's an
that's the
revolver,
common.
right?
Yeah, because that was in the 1800s.
I forgot what we're talking about. Val falls off a cliff. Oh no, he sacrifices himself to save the 7-year-old.
Okay,
Falls off a cliff.
okay.
And all science laws are accurate as he falls.
If someone's falling off a cliff and you go after them, the amount of force that it would take to throw midair throw them back onto the cliff is physically impossible because the kind of force that would take you would rip that person in two, for one. For two, he's falling forever. And then Pride somehow dives after him, completely ignoring the laws of terminal velocity, catches up to him, does a whistle. Somehow this whistle is going to then make it up to the ledge, wake up unconscious Stale. Remember, he's been hurt and he has not been healed by Arthur. He is still injured. He's still unconscious. He wakes up, teleports to her, pulls him back onto the cliff. I hated this scene. This was the most frustrating thing I've ever seen.
Science aside, this was a really good opportunity to show the team that she's built working together and have Arthur wake Stale up with healing. And then Stale used his powers. But nope.
Arthur didn't wake him up.
I know, I'm saying they
you're
should
saying
have.
this was
I got you.
It's a good opportunity.
opportunity. I see.
Yeah,
to be
an
like,
opportunity missed.
My team working fully functioned. Arthur doing some healing, Stale teleporting, me diving off a cliff. But no, she whistles. Stale wakes up to the whistle because he does, teleporting to her instantly and saving her.
Yep.
I've had too much of this margarita mix.
Val becomes
when you start gnawing on the lid. Yeah.
Val becomes a mailman who flirts with 13-year-old girls.
Oh my god, yes. So they go back to the foot thing, only this time he licks her foot. Like this, it's just.
Licks her foot. It's not just that. He's like teasing the other 13-year-old boys, like, "Hey, I could give her what she wants."
Right. Yep. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
All right, back to prison with you.
Yeah. Right.
Please?
Yes.
And it's even insinuated he's developed a crush on the 13-year-old princess.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
It's weird.
It's
I don't like it.
Meanwhile, Arthur and Stale are practicing martial arts against Gilbert because he knows martial arts. And they're only able to win thanks to Pride cheering them on. At the recommendation of Tiara. Through the whole anime, Pride's like, I wonder which one Tiara is going to fall in love with. Not real, and she has no cognizant awareness that Stale and Arthur are in love with her completely.
The power of horny 13-year-olds, I guess.
Yeah.
Which again, I write off to lazy power
Oblivious.
fantasy writing.
Yeah. It's
Wait,
very
is Arthur
much like
older?
Arthur's older.
Yes. He calls it out like, when you're my age. You don't know.
Yeah, it's the same kind of obliviousness that is always frustrating in anime. It usually is just the boy that's the oblivious one.
And part of the fantasy, again, of everyone loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Harems at this point in my life, I've grown tired of. So, reverse harem, full harem, they're all boring to me. I've said that before.
What about Monster Girl?
I didn't watch that. But good to know you did.
Dude, the Snake Girl competing with Centaur Girl?
How old was the Snake Girl, Jason?
I don't know.
We should keep going. Stale wants to become a good king now. He's like, I'm not just doing it for you, doing it for me. And then Vin Diesel's like, it's all about family.
Family.
Oh, and the anime ends with them vowing to protect her.
Yes, another vow.
Why not? One for the road. All right, guys, that's the end of the anime. I don't have any more topics to discuss. We're over time anyway. Let's go to our final reviews. Jeremy, the sober one, you hit us with what you got.
You want me to go first? I'm gonna give it a 1. I was so bored, and when I wasn't bored, I was irritated. The only times I was engaged were when I was thinking about what it could be instead of what it is. So yeah, this is a hard pass for me.
Jason?
Okay, so listen. There's never mind. Okay.
Bring it on home, buddy. Focus up.
You can do it.
Oh, Troy, I hate you. I wish I didn't pick this anime. However,
I forgot you picked it.
I know.
Is that why you picked me first?
So I might have thoughts. I'm not sure what they are, so I'm just gonna give it a 2.
Wow.
Wow.
A 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the power fantasy stuff was neat, and the like dad arc was okay, but everything else was just bad. So
The final
Here
arc
we
was
are.
the best part. I can agree with that. I was much less upset during the last 3 episodes than I was everything else. Jeremy, can
it's
our
no
website?
kiss sniper.
I have
I couldn't help myself.
Jeremy, can our website handle a 0?
I wish. I could
Okay.
probably make it handle
No,
one
that's
as an
fine.
exception for this episode.
I'm just kidding. It's a 1. I'm sure this is someone's favorite anime. If you're... I can't think of why. No, that's not fair. Like, everyone's opinion is valid. I'm sure.
Is it though?
Yes, I believe that. I'm sure. I can. Okay, hypothetical situation. You're looking for something that's just laid back, no stress, no drama, an escape. You want boys falling in love with a cute girl who's so awesome that she can't even realize it.
And block bullets.
Block bullets.
Yeah. With the tip of her sword.
It
Like, point on.
it hits all those isekai tropes that I hate already, and then so many frustrating decisions in its story creation and how it avoids conflict on purpose. Like, it goes out of its way to set up elements so that conflict won't happen.
Oh no! My only weakness, guns.
And I'm again not talking about I need aliens fighting robots. That's not what I care about. And the whole fact that she's so perplexed the entire anime. One of her last lines is, "I still have time to fix this." Fix what? You're fine.
Yeah.
You're not an evil sociopath. No one is dying. You're doing great. you're not. You can't keep that. That was when the thought, like, no, you're gaslighting me. This is a gaslighting anime. You are straight up lying to me, trying to tell me that there's stakes when they don't exist, and that is extremely frustrating. It's a 1. I'll be done.
They need managed democracy is what they need.
They just need some materia. All right. Our next anime is Undead, Unluck, episodes 1 through 12. This microphone is getting very heavy.
You're the one that decided to pick it up.
It was fated to happen. This is not going to be a regular thing.
Please no.
No. But we do appreciate if you stuck with us. God help you. But thank you. We need to be saying goodbye now. Let's say goodbye.
Wait. The Anime Baka Club.
Oh yeah, designated driver saving.
So if you want to reach us, you can reach us at the Anime Baka Club, our website, and also on Twitter.
.com. and hit the
X.
contact
Yeah, of
us
course.
button.
I mean, everybody knows it's
X.com.
.com, right?
No one calls it X. So dumb. At Baka Podcast on what used to be called Twitter.
Are we on
Yeah.
Instagram?
No,
No, we're not.
Oh,
we're not a bakery. All right, and you can reach us wherever you found the podcast, YouTube, wherever, Spotify. It has sections for comments. Leave a comment; it'll come back to us. We got a message from our website this week, and we replied back. Thank you guys so much for those who do reach out and share your thoughts. You are the better part of the show, that's for sure.
Like, are you
Especially
have to
this
prove
week.
it? Like, no, we do. We do
Thanks,
respond. See, I have an example.
I want to say goodbye now.
Yes, we can say goodbye now.
Thank you. Quit trying to be clever and just be done.
No, I'm just trying to think. Thanks for listening. That's right. That's what I always say. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
Sayonara.